Hello, lovely people, and welcome to the Almita Made channel. My name is Alma, and I'm here to chat about all things sewing and making of various disciplines. But today it's all about sewing because it's episode 3 of my What's the Buzz series, which is all about the Great British Sewing Bee series 11, I think we're on. Yeah, that sounds right. So I've got my coffee here. I've got Esme to assist me over here. And I have a lot of messy notes as usual. Woo! Okay, so week 3 was all about design icons, which is why I am wearing what I'm wearing. Let me put the coffee down. This is a dress inspired by a design icon, so I thought I had to wear it. It is starting from a Sew Over It Betty dress sewing pattern, but with a very different skirt, and I'll put up a picture so you can see the full effect, but it is inspired by an Oscar de la Renta dress. So design icon, I think you'll agree. It's a dress that appears in the Sex and the City TV series. So Carrie Bradshaw wears a dress a little bit like this. And this is why I made this version. I haven't worn it out into the world yet, but I will. But I thought it'd be a nice excuse to wear it here. It rustles a lot, which I enjoy. It rustles a lot, which I really enjoy, to be honest. So here we go. We're in the spirit of Design Icons Week. And oh my goodness, I loved this episode. Before I start, there will be spoilers here. So if you haven't seen episode 3 of series 11 of the Great British Sewing Bee, please go and watch it and watch this later. I don't want to spoil your fun. So we started with the pattern challenge, which was all about Diane von Furstenberg, who basically popularized the wrap dress, the jersey wrap dress, I should say, because I do think sometimes people forget or don't talk about the fact that it was jersey, which is what made her wrap dresses particularly sexy, I'd say. She famously used silk jersey, which clings to the body beautifully. And yeah, it's a great design. I do enjoy a wrap dress. They're not my favorite types of dresses to wear, mainly, I'll be honest, because of pockets. So I usually put pockets into my wrap dresses, but there's something that it drags the wrap a little bit open. It's not, I've never had accidents, but you know, I don't feel fully secure in a wrap dress, which is possibly why I don't reach for the ones I've made as often as other types of dresses. What I do love is a fixed wrap dress. So I've made the Sew Over It Pippa dress quite a few times, for example, and that has the wrap effect, but you're fully in there and you get into it with a side zip. So that's my preferred way of wearing a wrap dress. But the Diane von Furstenberg, has to be said like that, wrap dress was famously jersey, and the pattern that they gave the contestants I thought was very good. It ticked all the boxes, and I thought it was very interesting to see what kind of fabrics people gravitated towards. And my favorites by a mile were Kit with his gold lame stretch wrap dress, which was stunning and so 70s. I adored it. And then, of course, Jess with the leopard print wrap dress. Just stunning. Both of those I'd wear in a heartbeat. I thought they did a very good job. I think Esme commented that Jess had really thought about the placement of the leopard print where the print went a little bit lighter. And I completely agree. And that's something that maybe if you just see a dress that doesn't do that, you don't think, oh, they should have placed the white bit closer to the center. But when you do see someone do it, you go, oh, genius, chef's kiss. And I just thought Jess did an amazing job. Kit did an amazing job. However, the one that won the pattern challenge was Kaz, which was not my favorite print, but I agreed that she made an incredible dress. What's making me really laugh about Kaz is that every week she mentions that she makes pants. I make a lot of pants. I make a lot of pants. I make a lot of pants. Good on her. She clearly loves it. But it does make me laugh. I feel like maybe the editing had something to do, but we've heard about her pants making quite a lot by now. which is hilarious. But yeah, she did a very, very good job. I thought another dress that looked really good was Glendora's, mainly because I thought her choice of print was spot on. I thought her choice of print was very Diane von Furstenberg inspired. So if you Google Diane von Furstenberg, it's very hard to say that fast, but I enjoy it. If you Google her wrap dress, DVF wrap dress, the kinds of prints of the classic ones that she made are very similar to what Glendora used. So I thought she should have got some extra points for that. Something interesting was that at the start of the pattern challenge, I think Patrick said something that we expect an immaculate finish. What did he say? Fine finish. We expect a fine finish for this dress. And I thought, fine finish for Jersey, what are you going to do? And of course, they brought in the cover stitch machine, which I thought was a good idea. I've only used one once. I'm really not familiar with them, but they do a beautiful job of finishing Jersey. And it was a little bit of an extra challenge because I think most people hadn't used one, which was interesting to see. And interesting to see the kinds of things that you have to keep in mind. So you definitely have to like press accurately your edge so that you know that it's always going to be the same distance from the folded edge and your raw edge is going to get caught. I just thought that was interesting to see and quite advanced because I think unless you're in the world of sewing, you probably wouldn't have heard of a cover stitch machine. So I enjoyed that they brought that in, that it's not just entry level, they're talking about heavy machinery, as it were. So moving on to the transformation challenge, and people, I actually loved this one. Yay! I was very much into this. And I think this is the difference. It's when the material they get given to reuse and the end product makes sense together. That's when I enjoy the transformation challenge. And this one completely did, because they had soft furnishings, blankets, cushion covers, and the likes, and they had to create a Vivienne Westwood inspired look. It made sense, and their creativity, you could see the whole room did a good job. I thought all of them did a good job because it just made sense. It clicks instantly into your brain. It's not a cycling top into party outfit, if you know what I mean, which I really did enjoy. This one was great, and I thought everyone did a top job. But my personal favorites were Kit, absolutely, which actually won the transformation challenge. They did a very beautifully constructed, I thought, gold curtain with some pleather, a pleather bralette, which was sort of a bralette here, and then it extended on the other side with the curtain beautifully draped, pleated into it. It was gorgeous and very, very perfect for the brief, I thought. And I will apologize, like every week, I won't put pictures up because the BBC aren't keen on us using screenshots, but I will link below to the Great British Sewing Bee Instagram account, where usually you can see pictures of everything that I'm talking about. So Kit, for me, very deserved winner. But I also really enjoyed Jess. Again, it's Kit and Jess this week for me. Loved them. So Jess used like a light pink tartan and made a sort of, I think the top was made from a curtain maybe, then a pink tartan blanket skirt. But what I loved was the panniers, which Pat's my husband, Patrick Grant, other tall Pat, Patrick Grant called them something like the bucket tool belt. I can't remember the term he used, but it really made me laugh. It's like, no, they're clearly panniers. Like, you've seen a pannier before, Patrick, come on. Which are like a historical dressing thing to add volume. Usually they were worn under a skirt, and Jess put them on the outside, and I thought that was a genius move. I just really, really liked it. And then the other one I loved was Stuart. I love Stuart. Honestly, my favorite person in the room. And this week he had a little crochet tie, and I really enjoyed what he made. And then he also told us that his nickname used to be Crazy, because I'm not. I mean, I couldn't love this man more. He's brilliant. It just gives me little pearls every week. Last week it was the the dog sidekick, Trickle, this week, the crochet tie and the crazy nickname. I'm really enjoying Stuart. And his transformation challenge was really cool. It was a tartan that was sort of yellows and reds, and then a yellow, I'm going to say it was a curtain, like a pale yellow curtain, a lemon yellow curtain that he draped beautifully to make a really interesting skirt with the tartan draped and pleated on top. It was spot on. So those three were my favorites. But as I say, I thought everyone did a very good job. And I think it's because the brief made sense. Yay! And while we were talking about historical dressing, so what Jess did, and because it's all about the history of fashion this episode, I was so happy to see Amber Butchert. She's back. She's got the red bob and comes on the Sewing Bee for almost every series, I think, to talk about history of fashion bits and bobs. I love that woman. I love her style. I love her videos. She's very active on Instagram. I really enjoy her. She does a lot of documentaries about fashion. And I actually took a course with her years ago it was like an introduction to the history of fashion. And honestly, I adored it. I really loved it. So I really enjoy when she pops up in the Sewing Bee. And that's how I got to meet her, because I didn't know about her until I saw her on Sewing Bee. Then I followed her and I found out that she taught courses and things like that. And now she does something like textile forensics. Honestly, look it up. Mind blown. Brilliant. So she was back and we got some of the history about DVF, Diane von Furstenberg. But moving on, Transformation Challenge was Vivienne Westwood. And then we got to the Made to Measure. And I thought, I don't know why, but I thought maybe from the preview that we got last week, I thought maybe it was going to be that each contestant would choose a different design icon for the Made to Measure. But no, it was all Versace. Gianni Versace. As an Italian, it bothers me no end how wrong his name is said every time. It's not Gianni. It's Gianni. This is a public service announcement. It's not Versace, it's Versace. Angry Italian rant over. I thought it was a great brief because there isn't just one type of Versace that you could be inspired by. There's different eras, and I thought there were a lot of great ideas in the room. Now, the winner of the Made to Measure left me a little bit confused, if we're being honest. So there were a lot of very Versace inspired garments in the room, and yet they went with the least Versace inspired. So Kaz the impression I got is that Kaz wasn't comfortable making the types of garments that Versace is known for, which is completely fair enough. So she made it her own, but she went so far away. I thought she could have made it her own, maybe not in a gingham Dorothy dress. That's my opinion. I think she made a beautiful dress. I think it would have been 1,000 times better if she didn't put a top underneath. But I feel like maybe she didn't want to show too much flesh. And not that she's wearing it, but her model. I feel like that's what was happening. And fair enough. But I wouldn't have, she wasn't my winner. I just thought it was a little bit of a slap in the face of people who made very accurate Versace-inspired references. So that's my 2 cents on that. But it was a gorgeous dress. The one that I really thought should have won was Yasmin's, which was a black, I think it was Duchess satin that she used, but with the harness. So inspired by Versace's S11 collection, which always fun to see something like that on the Great British Sewing Bee on the BBC. Makes me giggle. But she did an amazing job. She made this harness with so many D-rings, like gold hardware, D-rings and sliders and press studs and things like that. And I thought it looked incredible. It looked really, really good. It fit the model really well, and it fit the brief beautifully. So that was my winner, Yasmin's. I also loved Jess's was really fun, which was a different Versace that wasn't necessarily in my memory, that Beyonce dress that she was inspired by. But Jess's version was turquoise with lots of ribbon going on. Really, really beautiful. And as I say, a bit of a surprise for me because I wasn't familiar with that Versace style. Then so it wasn't, the judges said it wasn't particularly well finished, but I appreciated Dan's J-Lo inspired dress. It just had a lot of impact, and it, it screamed Versace to me personally. So I liked that one. And then I really liked Kit's again. What I loved was the top mainly. So the top was this lacy sleeveless, and they put it on a male model, which I also loved. The top was a sleeveless sort of shell top, I'm going to call it, made in black lace. And at the back, it had a button placket with gold buttons. I thought I'd love to wear that. I don't know how, because I need something. So maybe just a bralette underneath or something. But I thought it was beautifully made. It fit the model beautifully. The skirt was really cool as well. I just really loved the top. So there was a lot of Versace in the room, and the least Versace one, which left me baffled. But, it makes for good TV. You don't expect what's going to happen. They twist and they turn and they catch you unawares. So fair enough. I thought this was possibly my favorite episode yet. I just really liked all 3 challenges. I thought there was so much in the room that I really, really loved. And in general, everything looked good. So it was a really fun one. Sadly, the one to go home was Glendora, who didn't have a great time with at the transformation, I think she came last. And also the made to measure, there was some issues on fit and maybe pressing or something like that. They said she made a red column dress with a very Versace-esque belt or ribbon around the waist. And so they liked the idea, I liked the idea, but the finish wasn't quite there. I think she didn't get to attach the lining. So as always, it's sad when someone goes home because of time. It makes me sad, but it's the nature of the show. Very sad to see Glendora go, especially because I've loved her outfits, as in what she's been wearing in the sewing room. Fantastic. What she had on for this episode was gorgeous. So I'm going to miss that. I'm going to miss her. She's got a great attitude. There was a lot of, oh, well, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. It's so not how my attitude would be. So I really like when I see that's possible. It would be nice to be like that. But anyway, I really enjoyed it. Let me know your thoughts on which ones were your favorites of the episode. And yeah, I think next week, I've completely forgotten what's coming up. Korea week next week. I know nothing, so I look forward to learning a lot, hopefully getting a little bit of history about the clothing history of Korea. So I look forward to that. If you enjoy these little chats, do give this video a thumbs up. Consider subscribing to my channel. Consider buying me a coffee. The link is below. And until I see you again, keep making and keep chatting about making. Bye.